Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
I'm not camping outside a store for Black Friday or any Friday.
We're with Kat. That's why our Ace Black Friday sale lasts all day. Just print out our online coupon, bring it in, and save 50% on an item under $30.
Ace is the place with Black Friday offers all day. Go ahead and sleep in.
Print out our coupon at acehardware.com and stop by Ace this Friday for 50% off one regular priced item under $30. Offer valid on November 25th only at participating stores. Limit 1. Exclusions apply. See coupon.
ABC. In the Navy, yes, you can sail the 7 seas. In the Navy, yes, you can put your mind at ease.
You know, when the song comes on and on, hour number 2 of the Bernie and Sid show, it says one of two things. Either this next guest was, in fact, in the Navy, or in fact, our next guest likes water sports.
Well, I doubt the latter is true.
Right.
This man, our next guest, is a true American hero.
Absolutely.
Actually, and
a true American. And with the battle going on in Mosul right now, this is a guy that put his life on the line.
That's right.
And did an amazing job capturing one of the really bad guys, sound like Donald Trump, capturing a really bad guy in Iraq, in Fallujah. He's a great guest on Fox News, a great guest of ours, and a friend of ours, and that is Carl Higbie. Carl, welcome back to the Bernie and Sid show. How are you, pal?
Well, I'm good. How are you?
we could be a lot worse, Carl. Always good to have you on the other end of the line here. You're also a spokesman for the Pro-Trump Great America PAC, and for that, you're also a great American, in addition to your service to this country over in Iraq with the Navy SEALs. And so we thank you for that.
Did a thing or two, so just part of the job.
Hey, let me ask you, before we get though to the battle in Mosul, I actually thought about you, Carl, a couple of days ago. This story.
I hope you had clothes on.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, he was playing in the Navy in the background, though.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, what kind of show is this?
Yeah, well, listen, we're in New York, bro. We're very liberal here.
We're very bohemian,
right? On a serious note, the Pentagon. This is unbelievable. They wanted more folks to go fight in Iraq and Afghanistan, so they offered people like $15,000-$20,000 to go fight. So a bunch of people joined the California National Guard, and they go, and some of these folks, as you know, Carl, serve 2 tours, 3 tours. Well, it comes back that this money they gave out, they weren't supposed to, about $37 million. And the Pentagon has the nerve to ask these people who fought 2 or 3 tours in Afghanistan and Iraq for the money back. Now, I know they stopped because of the bad press they got, the Pentagon. But when this was going on a couple of days ago, you had to be like, because you went through the same nonsense with the bureaucracy, you had to be like, oh, my God, right?
I was losing my mind. First off, they didn't ask for it back. They took it back. They have the authority somehow to reach into your bank account and charge you interest and take this stuff. I mean, here's the problem with this is the only reason this stopped was because of the media attention. It didn't stop internally, and that's the fundamental problem with the bureaucracy we're facing here. Look, I'm glad it stopped, but what about the people that for 3-4 years have already been paying these bonuses back, who don't have the money? When you get out of Navy boot camp or Army boot camp or whatever, you are making about $900 a month.
Wow.
That is, I mean, keep in mind, that is like so far below the poverty line. Granted, there's subsidies within the military. On top of that, they cover your food and housing and things when you're a junior enlisted person. But think about the fact that these soldiers, some have 10, 12 deployments. You said 3 or 4. Some of them have, like the far fringe, have 10 or 12 deployments.
Wow.
And they signed a legally binding contract with the government, with the Department of Defense, that said, if you serve this much time, we will give you this much money.
That's
they
right.
served this much time. The government went back and seized those funds from them after they served their duty.
It's outrageous.
And not only that, but some of these guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, you know more about this than I do, obviously, some of these guys also had to pay attorneys to help them out against the government, yes?
Correct. So you have people that have had to refinance their house, paid fees associated with that. A guy had to pay back $25,000. They didn't give him a payment plan. They gave him the opportunity to pay it back or face interest charges. So he refinanced his house at his expense, which cost, you know how that goes, a few $1,000s. Then he had to pay back the military. Now, what is the military going to do for these people? Look, they've stopped the payments. That's great. But we need to keep the media pressure on them. Write your congressman, write your representatives, and tell them to keep the pressure on them because these guys not only deserve their money back, but any fees associated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Hillary Clinton can lose $6 billion, lose it, like no accountability, lost, gone, adios, when she's Secretary of State, and nobody blinks an eye, bats an eye, does anything. She's not in trouble. But you hand out $37 million in legal contracts in exchange for service to the United States of America, and then you take it back. Where is the accountability?
It's disgusting. And not only that, but it also, they didn't do the right thing. In other words, they knew that this was occurring until, as you pointed out, the media attention focused some light on it. Nobody said along the pipeline, said, well, this is wrong. We can't do this. I mean, we made the mistake. Let's help these guys out. Nobody said that until this past week, for God's sake.
It's incredible. It really is. And this is the problem and this is the same, along the lines of the same thing when I wrote my book, Battle on the Home Front, on active duty, because I called out these problems. I actually, in my book, talk about pay deficiencies to the U.S. military that went unaddressed. And the military, you know what their response to that line was? Take it out. It makes us look bad. I said, no, it doesn't make you look bad if you fix the problem. I'm not trying to make you look bad. I'm trying to fix the problem so people don't have this. Here we are 5 years later after I've written the book, having the same problem on a much, much larger scale. Nothing's been fixed.
I read your book. You were persecuted. You guys were persecuted. You are the guy who captured the Butcher of Fallujah, and they made you guys look. They put you through the ringer with trials and this and that and the other for maybe slapping this Butcher around. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was reading, that the Navy brass was actually doing this to you guys.
It really is a travesty of justice here. Our troops are being sacrificed at the altar of political correctness for the sake of a few polling points in an election that it really belongs to the people, that's been sabotaged and taken away from us by the political elites.
All right, so Carl, now we have this movement, this effort to retake Mosul. Donald Trump's out there saying, hey, what about the element of surprise? What do you say about that?
Absolutely, and the element of surprise is key here. Like, you don't go, if you're going to break into someone's house to, seize an asset or something like that, you don't tell them you're coming. And at the end of the day, Mosul is critical for the infrastructure of Iraq because of the dam, the resources that dam provides, and also the infrastructure that we as Americans built up during the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Look, we are the United States of America has the most powerful army in the world. When we rolled into Iraq the first time, we took over the world's fifth largest army in less time than it takes you to get your shirts dry cleaned. Okay? If you don't tell me that America's might doesn't have the ability to do this, you're absolutely wrong. But when you fight it like diplomats, you're going to lose. If you want to send the American soldier in somewhere, let us do our job. And guess what? It's not going to be politically pretty and might not be politically popular, but it will keep the United States of America safe.
And there will be collateral damage.
100%.
And that's part of war. But the ISIS leaders escaped from Mosul because we telegraphed it for a couple of months.
Exactly. And these people are not geographically bound. They don't fight based on geographical borders like we understand here in Western nations. They fight. They're in over 30 countries now. They move around. Their territory morphs. And the issue is, we need to understand that where they currently are, we need to hit it hard. If you are in an ISIS-occupied territory, I've said it before and I'll say it again, you are not a good guy. You are not part of the solution.
But but like you said, they move. Like, in other words, the fight's going on in Mosul right now. So again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Rutbah, for example, which you must know about, all these cities neighboring Mosul, ISIS took that over. So what happens is, while we're fighting them, or the Kurds are fighting them, or the Turks, whoever are fighting them, they go to the next city, take that city over, and then we have to bring the battle to the next place.
Exactly. And the problem is we're not fundamentally fast enough. We're not acting quick enough. The issue here is there's two ways to defeat this enemy, and there is no other option. There is one, completely annihilate the entire ideology. You cannot do that. It's not physically possible. It's not logistically possible. So that takes that off the table. The other way is to beat the enemy where they are currently, and then you send a message and you beat them so badly that the few remaining alive are so terrified of the United States of America that we leave them naked to their enemy for 500 years, and then they will not bother us. Now, granted the fact, they're going to come back again. They've been doing this since 700 AD.
Right.
Okay? They've been at war with Christianity. We haven't been at war with them, but the radical Islamist faction has been at war with Christianity and any other religion that doesn't believe their ideology. We need to send a message so clear and so profound that they don't want to mess with us anymore.
I did see that when, in fact, we get the win in Mosul, that it will be a much easier fight. And again, this is your expertise. It will be a much easier fight than if, in fact, we tried to take Raqqa. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a different fight. It's a different fight because of politics. It is the same fundamental fight on the ground. We need to commit the resources. And here's the issue. Under the Status of Forces Agreement, when we left Iraq, we didn't leave any infrastructure for us to go back and reoccupy. And now, because Obama's trickling in people, even though he said no new boots on the ground, he's trickling people back into Iraq right now to take this Mosul thing to the tune of 8,000 to 10,000 troops. That is not enough to sustain operations, feed the troops on the front line, and feed them, metaphorically and physically, and accomplish the mission. You need tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of people to occupy an area like we did in the Battle of Fallujah, go through, clean it out, drain the swamp, if I want to steal a phrase.
Right. Yeah, go ahead. So listen, let me just say this. This is my opinion, and it's a very crude one perhaps, but I just read Bill O'Reilly's Killing the Rising Sun. I knew all about this beforehand, but of course it's all about the dropping the bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. The Japanese were every bit as barbaric as the ISIS savages are, and so they're concentrated in Raqqa. So what did we do? Even in World War II in Europe, we bombed cities with civilians in it, and of course we bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki and there were still civilians there. That's what we should do with Raqqa. Just eviscerate the whole city, just eliminate it, drop a couple of big, I don't care if it's atomic or conventional bombs, but while they're in there, drop some bombs on it, as you say, scare put the fear of God into these people, and they'll have some respect for us, maybe.
And you're right to an extent, and I will push back on the nuclear weapon just because of the political implications that brings. Here's the issue. We dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan because we had an enemy that was going to strap a bomb to themselves and run into an enemy force, blow themselves up, as well as hide their militants in the populations of their people. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Exactly like what's going on today.
Right.
The criteria meets it. The only difference is the media's influence on political popularity of a war effort. That is the only difference that is deciding the fate of this war right now.
Well, then what do you do tactically? Again, we're talking here to Carl Higbie, Navy SEAL hero, helped catch the Butcher Fallujah. What do you do? Bernard's talking about dropping an atomic bomb.
No, now wait a second. I'm saying conventional weapons will be just
that's
fine.
Just take Raqqa off the map.
Annihilate the city.
Annihilate. Then I've heard people like Lindsey Graham say, that's fine, but he wants to put 15,000 troops on the ground. Then I hear, no. Not one more American is going to die in that place. Forget about it. We're going to keep bombing from the air. In all seriousness, Carl, what is the only way to win this war?
The only way to win this war is get the politicians and the bureaucrats off the battlefield. Let the American soldiers fight.
That's fine. Forget about but what do the Americans? Do you need troops on the ground? What do you need to do to win?
2 things. You can put 250,000 boots on the ground in the region and then go through city by city, door to door, fight it like that. Or there's the absolute worst option, which is do not take a nuclear weapon off the table. I'm not saying drop it, but do not take it off the table. Because the second you say unequivocally that you will take it off the table, the enemy hears that, and they adjust accordingly, and they're not as
That's
afraid.
fine. That's a good threat. But what you're saying then, as a guy that served there and you saw people, your own friends, die right in front of your eyes, you're saying that you would put troops on the ground.
Yeah. Over the next 10 years, this will cost tens of thousands of lives worldwide of civilian casualties, or it will cost thousands of lives of American troops in their country. We have to make that decision, and that's above my pay grade.
It's not above mine. I'm saying drop the bomb. No more nation building. No more sacrificing American lives over there for people who hate our guts. The ones that we liberate, they still hate us. So the hell with all that. Drop a few bombs and keep the troop presence to a minimum is what I'm saying. Carl Higbie, you also said that if Hillary Clinton is the commander-in-chief, half the military is going to get out.
Right.
Why do you believe that?
Well, I mean, look at what just happened with the bonuses. These are people. The troops of America are fathers, husbands, sons, daughters, wives. Husbands. These are good people, normal people like you and I, that just chose to do something extraordinary. And when we get paid crap. I mean, let's be honest. Our bureaucrats in Washington, while they vote pay raises for themselves, the average soldier make less than $30,000. Okay, you can make more on entitlement benefits than that. And when they see their government not holding up to contracts that are legally signed and bound, they don't have any faith. Additionally, Hillary Clinton has left American troops out to die. You see Benghazi. She was on the wrong side of Libya. She was on the wrong side of Syria. She was on the wrong side of the Russian reset. Her foreign policy experience has amounted to a total of failures. Nothing has been successful under her foreign policy reign, and our military sees that. And we worry about, are we the ones who's not going to be coming home?
Yeah, but Donald Trump says impolite things about women.
Yeah, that's right. How you going to deny that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donald Trump called somebody fat, so obviously that makes him not fit to be.
Well, he said more than that.
Are you? Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, but let's be honest here. Like, oh, sorry, he hurt somebody's feelings.
I don't listen. I'm not voting for Donald Trump, but I don't care what he calls women either. I mean, I do, but that's not why I'm not voting for Donald Trump. I would ask you. I know you are. Obviously, you're his number one cheerleader, you and Bernard. I want to ask you about these sniper things. I'm amazed by this. I mean, obviously, I fell in love with Chris Kyle, like most of America, outside of Michael Moore did. And there seems to be somebody there now. On who he's fighting for, we don't know, but he's doing a great job. He's taking out ISIL guys every single day, including there was about to be a public execution a couple days ago in Mosul. A young teenager was about to be beheaded, and the ISIL guy actually brought the axe all the way behind his back and then took a bullet right in his forehead. No one knows who this guy is or exactly who he's working for, but he's doing a great job for us. What about these snipers that go out there and do this work relatively anonymous?
Well, here's the issue with that. You have one man, one person that is acting with no bureaucracy, no diplomacy. He's just killing bad guys.
Right.
One person is fundamentally changing the news cycle and the course of this war over the last week because now he has instilled fear. Imagine if an entire nation
had
the same sway.
Right. He's like Charles Bronson. You have a million Charles Bronsons. You're going to be doing great.
We have a few hundred SEAL snipers right now that could probably shoot better, farther, faster, stronger, everything than this guy. Put them out there and eliminate the bureaucracy. Just say, hey, go kill bad guys. Guess what? This war will be over in 90 days.
Wow.
Carl Higbie, a former Navy SEAL on the Bernie and Sid show. He's got a couple of books. One of them is Battle on the Home Front, a Navy SEAL's mission to save the American dream. And the other book is Enemies, Foreign and Domestic, a SEAL story. Where you guys were absolutely persecuted. It was disgusting, but the hero of Fallujah, Carl Higbie, we thank you for appearing on the Bernie and Sid.
Excellent job, Carl. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, pal. You take care.
There he is, right there. American hero. Trump's number one guy in the military.
Well, not going to hold out against him.
Excuse me?
What?
He's a hero.
Absolutely.
Nothing but worship and praise.
Nothing can change that,
and
even a vote for Trump.
And I inferred he's for dropping the bombs instead of sending the troops.
That's exactly not what I got.
That's what I got. 1-800-848-9222. Bernie and Sid back after this.